Howdy do. It's your old Uncle Jason here to once again drop some truth on you. I know it's been a while since you and I have had this little conversation, but you know what? I think it's time for me to speak. First thing I want to talk to you kids about is how we've forgotten our roots. Not only as individuals, but as a nation. First place we've forgotten this is in the family. Fathers don't know how to be fathers. Mothers don't know how to be mothers. Wives don't know how to be wives. Husbands don't know how to be husbands. Mostly because they were neither taught or they were conditioned not to care. Both are equally as dangerous and equally as sad. Fathers, anybody can go out and pump a baby into a woman. Anybody can do it. Especially nowadays. But if you do, you got to understand there's a responsibility that comes with that. I understand the system is rigged against you. There's not much incentive to be a father nowadays. Given the fact, the divorce rate, family courts, child support, all manner of incentives for the family to be broken apart. But unfortunately, you knew that the second you stepped into that relationship and did what you did. So I'm here to tell you, you need to step up. You need to raise them kids properly. Teach your boys how to be men. Ignore all the bullshit about toxic masculinity and all that nonsense. There's not enough masculinity in this world. You want to change? Be the change. It's been said often. It all starts with you. Now, mothers, regardless of your situation, all that into account. We'll say that much. All that into account. You've got to understand that your child needs a father figure. There's no getting around it. A boy needs a man to learn him how to be a man. Just like a girl needs a woman to teach her how to be a woman. A guy cannot fulfill that. If you're bitter about your ex, I am truly sorry about how you were treated. But you can't maintain that victim mentality. You've got little ones looking up to you. You need to address who comes into their life and who stays. Reject this modern theology of boss bitch. That shit has destroyed more families than you can shake a stick at. Feminism. Reject that. The original concept of feminism was equal rights for men and women. Nobody's disputing that. And if they are, they're fools. But the third and fourth generation feminists, they hate men. Whether or not you choose to believe it, it does not change what is true. For the sake of argument, if you have a feminist that is preaching kill all men, ask them, are they willing to sign the draft? The little draft cards. Ask them if they're willing to go to war. Ask them if they're willing to get a job as a bricklayer or a sewage maintenance guy, high-rise pole worker. Any of the dirty jobs that are predominantly male-dominated, as you like to call it. Ask them if they're willing to do that. Ask them if they think that if a woman can have an abortion, can a man walk away from a child? Doesn't make it left, right, or wrong. Just ask them that particular question and ask yourself that. Because I said at the beginning of this video, men have just as much responsibility to that child as you do. And you have just as much responsibility to that child as the guys do. It's our differences that make us great. And together we raise the child. Hence the two-parent system. Every situation is different. I get it. I'm not disputing that. But each of us need to take into account for our own actions and our own inactions. Until we start having that conversation, there's never going to be any real change. Get past that victim mentality and take responsibility for yourself right now. Touching what I said about forgetting our roots as a nation. We've forgotten what it means to be an American. We used to be the melting pot of the entire world, but everybody's refusing to melt. The second you mention race, everybody gets their feathers rustled. Why? Why is it that something 20, 30 years ago was a joke and now is offensive? Why is it all of a sudden that people are getting their gander up? You ever notice that every 4 years this kind of crap starts getting stirred up? You ever notice that? Have you ever noticed that whenever there is an election, whether it's national or local, things just seem to happen that gets everybody riled up and supporting a particular candidate on one side or the other? Say what you want about Trump. Say what you want about Biden. Say what you want about any of the other players in Washington or otherwise. And just ask yourself the question, why? It's another thing we've forgotten. We forgot how to ask questions. Let's get to the point we can't even ask questions anymore because we're automatically attacked by those around us and those in power. That's why God invented the First Amendment. That you're able to speak and say that which is on your mind without any sort of recourse from the government, that is. Also remember, with great power comes great responsibility, and unfortunately people are refusing to take responsibility, both, as I said, from the family and as a nation and as humans. We have forgotten our roots. So think about what I said. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't immediately reject what I have to say. Rewatch the video. Take notes. Think about what I said. Then ask yourself, for yourself, does what I have to say hold water? That's all I'm asking. Just take a minute and evaluate it. And ask whether or not what I said holds water. I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I let you go. I used to be just as bad as Alex Jones, if not worse. The only difference was that I didn't have the platform he did. You can ask any of my friends. Talking to people who had differences of opinion with me did wonders of opening up my eyes to what was actually going on. One of my dearest friends is actually a moderate, more left-leaning than most. Him and I differ on many opinions, but we actually had the conversation. We did not forget our roots, because that's how America used to be. We could disagree, but we still came together as Americans. We still came together as human beings, and we did what was right. His differences of opinion opened up my eyes to the fact that I was living in an echo chamber. I was listening to people who were like thinking of me. And I got angry with it because I thought that was fact. No matter how right they may have been, they're still no counter arguments to chip away the nonsense or to reinforce that which was true. And that is one problem that we definitely have in this country right now, is that nobody is willing to have a conversation with somebody who has a difference of opinion with them. Be it liberal, be it conservative, be it Christian, be it atheist, be it whatever. We have become divided. United we stand, divided we fall. And I assure you, as individuals and as a nation, that will be our undoing. Remember your roots, kids. Remember your roots. Feel free to like and share. I know it's 11 minutes long. But think about what I said. You might learn something. Stay safe. Stay frosty. Stay armed.